Welcome to the PHNX Coyotes podcast, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill here with Craig Morgan and Steve Peters as always, and today we are joined by a very special guest, former Coyotes head coach, Rick Tocchet. Tock, thank you so much for making the time out of your busy schedule to join our show.
Yeah, work. Hey, Tock?
Well, when Craig and Petey asked me, I said, "Are you kidding me?" Absolutely. So I'm going to get some water. I know Petey's going to have some hard-hitting questions for me.
Yeah, you better be ready. This isn't – we're not breaking sticks. It's not cream puff stuff. We're going to talk hockey, and it's going to be tough. But let's start with – honestly, let's start with TNT, if you don't mind. Yeah. First, is that something you've wanted to do, how it came about, and then kind of give us how it actually works, what it's like behind the scenes.
Yeah, when I was leaving the Coyotes, you're in limbo for a little bit. And I had 3 or 4 teams call about a associate coaching role. A couple of teams I was really seriously thinking of doing it, and then TNT had called my agent, and I was kind of lukewarm. Now they wanted me to go for a test in Atlanta, and actually my girlfriend and my agent Steve Mountain said, just go and see how it is. And it's the best thing I did. It was actually it was a lot of fun. They called me a couple hours later, said I had the job, offered me a 2-year deal, and said, "Hey, we don't really want you to break X and O's and try to reinvent the game. We want you to just have fun and talk hockey like you're at a happy hour in a bar." And it's I have to thank them for getting me to go for the interview.
Rick, did you have any reservations about going to TV? I mean, you sat in front of us after every damn game and had to answer questions. So it wasn't like you weren't in front of a camera a lot, but did you ever have any reservations or nervousness about doing this?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you're always, it's kind of, I did a little pre and post game with the Flyers, a bunch of years ago. And I was a little nervous because TNT's a big brand. You got the Barclays Shack. They wanted, obviously you can't get to their level, but they wanted us to do something like that. So, you want to make sure that you're good at it. I didn't want to, look like I was fish out of water there. So I was a little nervous, Craig. I have to be honest with you. But I got to tell you, their format, the way they teach you, what they want you, they don't over prepare you, has really helped me, especially to go on those shows.
Can you walk us through what a typical work week looks like for you? Because TNT's Wednesday night. So what's a typical week for you? How do you travel there? What's your show prep like?
Yeah, it's well, right now we're starting. We got double headers like tomorrow Wednesday. I'll be flying into Atlanta tomorrow with Tuesday. Get in there. They put us up at the Four Seasons. I mean, Petey's going to roll his eyes when I tell him.
I know.
First class seats, and then you get there Wednesday. We don't have to be there till about 4:35. We go over a little bit of an outline of what we're going to do, but they don't tell you a lot. And then a lot of the surprises, they just kind of 2 minutes before, "Hey, we're doing this," and you do it. So that's kind of their flavor. So the doubleheaders, we get back to the hotel at 1:30, and then I fly out the next day back to my home in Vegas. So it really, Leah, it's Tuesday fly out, Wednesday show, and then Thursday. Liam and a couple of guys, we'll text each other, "Hey, on Monday or Sunday, hey, who do you want to interview? We got this guy, that guy." They'll have your input, but it's really easy the way they have it for the format for us.
Well, we've talked a lot clearly we talked to a lot of hockey people talking. You've done a really nice job. I'm not here to blow you that hard, but people love what you're doing. They think you're really funny, and people in the hockey community are watching it. So great job. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Do you get concerned about that you're being too funny? You're you're become a comedy act, and you're still trying to be a coach in the future. Does that ever concern you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we talk all the time. You don't want to get, "Hey, we broke sticks the other day." We don't want to try to one up each other, and I don't want to be look like a donkey on TV also. And it's funny, Pete. They asked me. We were talking about a couple of things, and I said something. It wasn't really controversial. I can't remember what I said. This was during the test. Are you willing to say that? Will that hurt you? I said, no, just as long as it'll never be personal against a player or a team or a coach or whatever. And it's just I just want to analyze what I think. If you keep it that way, you're fine. If I start to be really critical and stuff like that, I think, yeah, it might hurt you. So I got to be careful. I got to toe the rope. But I'm, you know, me, P, I'm always going to be honest. I'm going to try to give you what I feel. But it'll never be personal.
So what do you do with the rest of your week if you're Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? How are you spending the rest of your time?
Well, you know, work out, watch some hockey games, golf once in a while. I was watching a lot of hockey there about a month ago. And I don't watch as much as I used to, because sometimes you get sit in front of that television and you got no skin in the game. So sometimes when if you're watching too much, you're not in that fire, that competitive edge. So I found I was getting a little stale watching the game. But I make a lot of calls. I shouldn't say make a lot of calls. I have a certain network of guys that I talk to, and I know Petey will bust my balls about that. I talk to Craig Berube a lot, Travis Green a lot. John Cooper will call once in a while, and obviously, with the show Biz, Wayne, all those guys. So I got to select guys. I talk to Petey, Craig once in a while. So I got a bunch of guys I call and just to stay in the loop pretty well.
What is it like working with Paul Bissonnette on a day-to-day basis? I mean, we've gotten a little taste of it, but I'm guessing you've gotten a heavy dose of it.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. When I was coaching there in Arizona, and I knew Biz, to say hi. Yeah, I did. I think I sat in lunch with him. I didn't know him that well. I got to tell you, I really, really like Biz. We've come really close this year. We have a routine. When we get in, we go work out. We have dinners. We have lunch, and he really wants to, like, he's not a clown. The one thing with Biz, like I said to Biz, don't be always the clown. Like, he's got some really good hockey IQ in him. And I've really like talking hockey with him. I've learned some stuff from him. So that's one thing that I've really enjoyed with Biz is talking hockey. He's into it, loves the game, but he also knows how to, he showed me, I don't know if it's even, you guys watch, he did this. He actually wrote this commercial. I think it was some glove commercial, and he wrote it. It was incredible. So he's a very talented guy, and he's marketed himself very well. So I've really enjoyed my time with Biz this year.
Having said that, you talked to us off the air about the sort of show prep that Biz does to get in the zone for a game. Can you take us behind the scenes of that?
Yeah, like Biz, about 2 minutes before the red light comes on, he gets 2 Red Bulls and he just crushes his 2 Red Bulls. Yeah, likes himself up. And then sometimes I'll watch him and he's so focused and he'll talk to himself before we go on what he's going to say. He's very intense until that red light, and then he just, Biz is Biz, right? You never know what he's going to say. The guy, he said moose knuckle the other day on the air. He just doesn't care. Like, and what TNT lets him go, they don't care either. So it's been a nice mix, and he's really done a nice job coming and kind of towing that rope and helping us out, me and Gretz and Ansem and Liam.
But you talk about your work week, and we joke about it and kid about it a little bit, that you're working, a day a week for, it's hard. I'm not minimizing it, because honest talk, same freaking thing for me here. Like, it's not work. This isn't 24 hours a day. But having said that, I know how much you personally want to compete, how much you want to have an effect on the game. You talk about skin in the game. That's kind of who you are. You compete at whatever it is you do. So are you ready? Do you want to get back into coaching? Like, are you ready for 7 days a week, 20 hours a day, where that's hard work? And are you ready for that? Like, you're great at this. It looks like you're having fun. Do you want to dive back into it?
Yeah, for me, Peter, it's got to be the right situation. I mean, it's not that listen, I'm not going to sit here, I'm not that arrogant to say I can sit back and I want this, I want that. It's, I'm not saying I can get any job I want, but it has to be the right situation. Yeah, I have to have the right staff. I mean, Peter, as a head coach, your assistant coaches and your video everybody has to be really dialed in and really help the head coach. If you don't have that, I don't care how good of a head coach you are, you're only as good as your assistant coaches. So that's got to be in place. And obviously, you'd like to get a roster and a team that can compete and has a chance to win every night. That would be something. Yeah, not saying it's ever going to happen, but I definitely love to compete and just the puzzle, putting stuff together and trying to win. That's something I'll always, I have the fire. Like I said, I talked to a couple of coaches every once in a while, like Craig Berube, and we talk, and he calls me all the time, and I love the banter. We talk, and he asks me questions and stuff like that. I love that. So that at least he gives me a little bit of a little flame there when he calls me. But yeah, I'm a compete type of guy.
Hey, this isn't 60 minutes. I'm not holding your feet to the fire, but there are a few topics that if we don't touch, I think we're remiss from what we're doing here at PHNX. So you talk about a team and a fit, and you look around the league and you see Chicago's got an interim coach. Rick Bowness is getting ready to retire. Dave Tippett's in the hot seat. So there are jobs open. And there's another one that your name comes up with. And you look at the Philadelphia Flyers, who fire the coach, have an interim coach tag there. I see it on Twitter. I see it in social media. And your name gets associated with all the time. You just got it. You're into their Hall of Fame now. How do you deal with that? Like, you see it every day. Like, Rick Tocchet's the perfect guy for the Philadelphia Flyers. One, how do you deal with it? And is that attractive?
I got to tell you, was it 3 weeks ago? And I can't name the guy. He's a big guy in the NHL. He's got a big name in the NHL. He texted me, "Hey, Todd, congratulations, good luck." He thought I got the Philly job, and this guy's a big time guy for another organization. So that's how crazy it gets, right? With rumors, people call you all the time, and the Elliot Freemans, all those guys. Everybody thinks that hey, this is it's more like, I shouldn't say it's like rumors, but they hear something maybe from an executive or something, then it has legs. So to be honest with you. Nobody's contacted me with Philadelphia or anything like that. So I just put my head down and do my TNT job. And it's not fair to the other coaches too. Like, there's a lot of guys out here. How many times have you ever heard Babcock's name when some coach loses 4 games in a row? I don't think it's fair to the other coaches when they hear that stuff too, because I've been in that seat too, that hot seat too.
Staying on the subject of Philadelphia, just last year you were elected to the Flyers Hall of Fame. What did that mean to you, and can you kind of walk us through that experience? Yeah,
that was a big moment for me when they called me. That was a big part of my life, Philadelphia. The Flyers played there over 11 years, played for some great teams there. Like, probably there were some teams that are the closest team I've ever been, and I've always tried to emulate that as a coach. Like, how do you coach like closeness? It's hard to, right? Because I remember the Murray Cravens, the Ron Sutters, the Dave Poulins, Timmy Kerr, Brian Propp, Brad McCrimmon, who was a big influence on my career, Mark Howe. I can name all these guys. Those guys really helped me get in. I mean, there's so many other guys can get in. And it was a great weekend, seeing all the old Flyers and the John Leclercs, Eric Lindros, all those guys came in. So it was a lot of fun to see those names, and just the fans. I mean, we had a game before, 6,000 or 7,000 people, and they only promoted a couple weeks before. So they're a heavy fan base that's wants to win really bad, and it's a great place to play.
Rick, when you were talking about the possibility of getting back in to the coaching profession, you mentioned it's got to be the right situation. You've obviously had there's no way to sugarcoat this. You've been put in a couple tough situations in Tampa and Arizona. What is the right situation for you going forward?
Well, it's a great question, Craig, because you want to check the boxes, right? Like, I wish you wish you had certain guys rosters, in the league, like solid ownership, a general manager that communicates well, a heavy roster that has some stars and with a lot of young guys potential. So, I mean, those are, like, every coach wants that, right? And there's no perfect team. But like I said, I'm not sitting here saying I can be very choosy if I ever get back in. But there are some things there I'd really like to have before I accept the job. And communication and being rock solid in the organization has to be definitely 1 and 2.
And we talk a lot of Coyote hockey here, obviously. We're the PHNX Coyotes podcast. So from your experience coaching with the Coyotes, now you've been able to step away for a minute. When you look back at your career with the Coyote organization, is there something you would either like to change, you thought you could have done better, or is there something that you've learned from the experience now that you can take to another job if you were to get one?
Yeah, Petey, there's a lot of little things that I think I would change. When you lose, you take losses hard, and sometimes after a game, And I always said to myself, the next day you got to come in with a fresh. And I did for the most part, but sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I took the losses really hard. Sometimes you think you want to win more than the players do, and I think that's not fair to the players. So I think sometimes as a coach you got to be careful of that. The time in Arizona, I mean, we had some. I thought we were climbing there, we were chipping away, and then obviously unfortunate incidents happened, and I took that hard, and then all of a sudden, it's hard because you want to win so bad, and I keep saying that you get cloudy in your mind. So sometimes there are certain times of the year where things that happen, and I took it so hard, maybe I didn't coach as well, or it affected me for a few days. So I think I could deal with that a little bit better now.
Do you still keep in touch with Phil Kessel?
I did early in the year. I haven't talked to Phil in a while. He's actually been playing really well, so I'm going to leave him alone. I know whatever happens to him here in the next couple of months, I think hopefully it's a win-win for Phil and the organization. Phil's, I think Phil skated better this year than he did last year, to be honest with you. I think he seems to me he's skating better.
Do you keep an eye on the Coyotes at all? You said you watch hockey, so I'm curious if you watch the Coyotes at all.
Absolutely. There's some guys there that are still there that I want to see do really well. Jacob Chikrin was struggling there early in the year. You feel for him. He's the type of guy that I want to see him win. And maximize his career. Clayton Keller is a guy that I'm really proud to see the way he's playing. I mean, it's like he's basically this year said, "Hey, I'm going to play this way." And if you watch him, he's moving his feet and he's playing the inside. Certain guys that you just got an affection for, that you want to see do really well. And listen, Phil Housley was on my staff, Corey Stillman. I want to see them do well. So I want to see guys do well. I mean, Javier has reached out to me a few times to see how I'm doing. So it's always nice to get those calls to check in. But I definitely, Leah, watch the games. I mean, I don't see all the games, but I do watch the games for sure.
Rick, with Clayton Keller in particular, you always talked about him being a student of the game. You called him a hockey nerd. He was always the guy that was willing to put in the time to learn. What's the difference this season? Do you think it's just a maturation process? Is it as simple as that?
I think the maturity, you're right. The maturity of him understanding what's expected of him every night to play in the NHL and to be a leader and not be selfish. That's something that he's always worked on. He's always been the guy everywhere he's gone, and he wants to be out there, but you got to earn those rights, and he's earned it this year. And I just think that, and I'll be honest with you, his off-season workout this year, I think Bill Armstrong talked about it. He put 5 to 10 pounds of extra muscle. That's big. He was he came in as a little boy in the sense with high skill, but now you can see he's got bigger legs. You can say, I think the other day, one of you guys mentioned it too. I think he went wide on a guy, came inside, and usually you get pushed off. He held his ground. It was the short-handed goal. He held his ground. He held his tracks, and he didn't budge, and he scored that goal. I mean, that's because he worked out really hard and did the stuff that he had to do this summer. And he's only going to get better by doing this.
So one of the things I know about you that a lot of people might not know is you're a real student of the game. And we had a picture of him. To me, this is Rick Tocchet. Like if he walks by a whiteboard, he's drawing stuff on it. Like he said, "Hey, I saw this in a game last night. Do you think we could try this?" And you know what? Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't, but you're always thinking outside the box. I guess my question to you is, and a lot of our people that watch our show and listen to our show, they say, what's Tocchet's system versus Tippett's system, or what is Tournier's system different? And can you kind of explain to people that don't watch hockey enough, like really what is the impact of the system?
Yeah, I think like really when you sit down, you got to look at your roster and then you go from there. We all kind of, Peter, you've had how many head coaches that you've worked for? 85 to 80% of the guys do the same thing. It basically the same thing. It's the 20%. And I think the 20% is your roster. If you have certain guys, you play a little different. In Arizona, we didn't have a lot of high scores. We had a great goaltender in Darcy Kemper. We had a veteran defense, and I felt like if we could stay in games, we could compete. And I think for the most part, we did most nights. Yeah, would I like to open it up a little bit? Yeah, but when you're not converting, if we have 6 2-on-1s, the other team only needs 2 or 3 to convert. How risky do you want to be? So I think really the system, Petey, and we always talk, and every year we go into the next year. Hey, how can we activate the weak side defenseman more this year? What's the risk reward? F3, Pete. Some coaches a little higher. Sometimes I want them a little lower. Like those are little things that you can kind of tweak your system with the roster and your players. But to me, the main reason for a coach is he's got to bring energy and he's got to bring communication to his. That's really what it's about. If you can get your team to play with a high energy and you can communicate with your players and make them understand it's not always about that individual, you got a better chance of. I can exit all you at depth. Peter, we sit and talk. I can tell you what Colorado does, what Philly does. They do this, they do that. How far wide of a forecheck they do. But really, it comes down to is execution of that system. And I don't differ much from Dave. We talk about Dave Tippett or some maybe little different things here and there, but it's not a major difference.
No, and that's what people need to understand. You can win playing any system. Like Tampa play 1-1-3, and teams win where you go 1-2-2. Like what your point was is whoever does their system the best, making the least mistakes, and knows their system the best, I think has the best opportunity to win. I do think system play as it's used is just a little bit overused. Mm-hmm. If you have really good players that do the structure that you've taught them, most often with the fewest mistakes, that's how you win in this league.
Listen, you got Cal McCarr on your team. You're stretching the envelope. Your playbook's getting bigger. You're getting a thick playbook. Hey, off this draw, we're going to have him really wide. We're going to do this because it's Cal McCarr, right? Other guys you can't because you got to play more close to the vest. So system-wise, yeah, I mean it's about playbook. Kansas City Chiefs are going. Your team, Peter, are going to the finals. There, their playbook's huge. Tennessee's a bit more of a right. They're different, right? They have a less of a. It's no different in hockey. So I think sometimes the system thing's a little overrated.
On that note, a lot of guys that step into this broadcast situation like you're in now, we'll talk about how it provides a different perspective. You get to watch a lot of teams, first of all, and you're not just, you don't have the blinders on for your own team or the next opponent. What sort of perspective has that created for you, both with maybe your coaching perspective and then what have you learned about the league this season?
Yeah, it's great, Craig, because sometimes I'm sitting there watching the games with other guys, whether it's Gretz or Anson or whoever. And sometimes I fall in that thing where, well, how does the coach do this? Or why would you do that? And I'm like, you guys don't understand. The guy has this many, so many seconds. He's got this. Some guy's got he's getting his skate done. And, we question coaches so much. So my perspective, I guess, is what you're asking me. I try not to do that because I understand what those guys are going through. Just from watching on the sidelines that I've been out for a while, I tread very lightly on that. I don't really, even when I go on the show, if there's a coach maybe pulled the goalie too quick or challenged something, I'm not going to be really criticizing that guy unless it's it's something that everybody you have to point out. That's a perspective I have. Is it's a really hard job, and you got to really understand sometimes the position some of these coaches are being put in.
Would you say you've learned anything about coaching?
About coaching? Absolutely.
Yeah, but this season by being up in the booth or being in the studio.
Absolutely, yes, 100%. There's different ways of coaching. I've watched some other coaches. I can watch more as a fan of the way the coach is coaching now, where I'm invested in my team. So you usually have your blinders on. But now it's there's 32 teams out there. I'm watching everybody. I'm watching what coaches are saying on the media, how they're dealing. And like I said, I keep bringing up Craig Ruby. I got to really thank him because he really helps me. He just won a Stanley Cup a couple of years ago, and he's picking my brain. So I don't think you can never stop learning as a head coach. I don't care if you won. And I think every year you got to reinvent yourself. That's something, Craig, I think you can't come in with the same cards as a coach. You got to bring something to the table because players are going to get stale. That's why they say coaches have been there 5-6 years. They get tired of hearing the voice. So as a coach, you better bring something new. And I think that's why John Cooper, who's done a really nice job this year, because he's got to bring something new. They just went back-to-back cups. And I asked Coop on the interview, is there stuff you're doing different? And he is, and those injuries have actually helped him because it's brought other people into the game. So it's kind of energized some of the veteran guys because they got new players there that are on their team. So that's something I've really watched Tampa. How are they going to do some things different that they don't become complacent?
So you just mentioned getting to watch all 32 teams, so do you have any perspective on who you think is going to be the top contenders going into the playoffs? Any players that have stood out to you, surprises, et cetera? What are your thoughts kind of on the league as a whole so far?
Well, we're talking about DraftKings. 3 weeks ago, I said, if I was somebody, put money on the Pittsburgh Penguins and St. Louis Blues, because 3 weeks ago, I said they started to hit their groove. I like both their teams because the depth. I like their coaching, obviously. Pittsburgh, the goalie situation, he's an all-star, Trajari, but can he hang in there during the playoffs? That's what he's going to be judged on. And I love the way St. Louis is playing now. So if you're looking at two teams that, they're not heavy. They're obviously, I think they're favorites, obviously, but they're not heavy favorites. Those are the two teams I really liked to maybe get to the finals. I know people in Colorado, and listen, they should be number one heavy favorites, and there's other, Toronto's playing well this year. Tampa, obviously, are the favorites also. But two teams that are built for the playoffs, I think, are Pittsburgh and St. Louis.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first. And you mentioned DraftKings. And before we move on, I just want to remind everyone that our show is brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And counting down to Super Bowl 56, new customers can get 56-1 odds on any team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins when you sign up for the DraftKings Sportsbook app using that promo code PHNX. If you're not a new customer, you can experience the conference championships with same game parlays, so it makes it a lot more fun. I bet on all the games yesterday, and I was very invested. It really does make it more exciting, I will say. So DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Super easy to deposit and withdraw your money. So check out the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code PHNX. 56-1 odds on any NFL team. Bet $5 to win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's 21 and over. Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details.
Rick, gotta ask you, question of the day.
Yeah.
What do you think of the NFL's overtime format?
Oh, that's a great question. I go back and forth. I'm going to say you keep it. As much as I want to see Josh Allen have the ball in his hands, I mean, what a performance. I think you just keep it. I don't want it to be like college. But listen, you could twist my arm if you said each gets a possession and whoever has the most points. Yeah. I could lean that way too. I'm probably waving the white flag. You're talking to a guy that hates shootouts, right? I hate shootouts. I'd like to play a full quarter and just be personal. That's never going to happen because I know the wear and tear on a football on the players. But I could go either way, Craig, to be honest with you.
Yeah, when I look at it, I think, okay, I get why you don't want to play a whole extra quarter in the regular season. It's the same idea in the NHL, right? Get the overtime over with. You're gonna kill these guys if they have to do it too many times over the course of a regular season. But to me, in the playoffs, you got to play football. You got to put both offenses on the field. I don't know if you go to the college playoff format or if you just play an entire quarter, but it just seemed crazy to me that Josh didn't even get the ball in his hands after that performance. How do you not let that offense at least come on the field and have a chance? That was crazy to me. And Sean, our producer's dying here because he's a Bills fan.
Huge Bills fan.
So.
No, I'm with you guys. I feel their pain, but I understand the other way. I think KC got ripped off a couple of years ago by the Patriots, and they actually wanted to change the rule. So they wanted that where both teams got possession. So it's funny how it turns out. It's a tough one. I think all America wanted to see. All North America wanted to see the world actually. Josh Allen have the ball in his hands and see what he would have done there for sure.
All right, we need to get in some real hard-hitting questions here. How hard was it to work with Petey?
Wow.
Easy here, Turbo.
Yeah. Unload, buddy. Unload.
Tell us everything.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean this sincerely. He's one of the best in the business. I'm very lucky. There it is. He bought me my first Starbucks. That's his first one.
See, I buy that. I'm smart. I get up when one coach is awake and I buy one Starbucks. These guys, when we go to a big dinner, they have to get the bill for everybody. So I pick my spots. I'm not stupid.
The one thing with Pete when I got there is like I said, Pete, you're not a video coach, you're assistant coach too. So we actually put the slash in there for Pete. It did. Did you get a raise, Pete? I can't remember.
You got a new title, just like Woody Harrelson on Cheers got the new title.
Well, you got the slash in there, and then you lost your job. Sorry, buddy.
I was hoping when we talked about what would you have changed, you said, "Well, I kept you around." That's what I was hoping you would have said. What he's changed to the Coyotes? Keep Petey.
No, but Leah and Craig, one thing with Petey, like the one thing I really enjoyed when I walked in there, like he being involved with the Coyotes, what, 25 years, Petey?
23. Yep.
23 years. Every day, like he would try to think of something different. Like he knew the way I thought. You know, probably not a great day to give to show video of the team. Probably not a good, to go over the same thing. So we'd say, what about doing a video? Like let's do an inspired video today. Let's do this. Let's do that. And Peter, should we segue into
do it.
So Petey, I walked one day. I go, Petey, we were a little slump. I got to get these guys thinking, not hockey, something inspire them. So Petey goes, let me go at home and I'm gonna Google all these inspiring movies. I'm gonna watch them all. So he comes in the next day, and he's white, he's gaunt, and he's like, I can't do this. He goes, I've been crying all night. He goes, what? He's been watching all these inspiring movies. So he picks this Arthur the dog, and actually I cried. It was about this dog. Petey, explain the story.
And see, so we'll talk a couple things. When he says inspirational videos, and this is no affront to talk, he loves Tom Brady and what they did with the New England Patriots. So it's always, hey, we should show a Tom Brady video. And I'm like, shit, we've already shown Tom Brady. Like, we got it. 9th round pick, worked really hard, great, best all time. So I said, we need something different. He said, okay, find something. So I went home and there was military inspirational stories, athletes that have been through hell and back. And you're like, I literally it's 2:00 in the morning. I haven't slept in days because we're working. And I'm sitting there in bed just bawling. Headphones are on. And I'm like, oh no. And then I found this story about a dog. And I said, this is it. This is Arthur. So I went into the coach's room the next day and I said, I got it. It's about a dog. And they looked at me like I had 3 heads. Really? A story about a dog. That's what we're going to do to inspire our guys. I said, just wait, watch it. And so I played it in the coach's room for the first time that morning. And everybody's kind of looking away like, well, I'm not crying. I'm too tough for that. And that was it. They're like, I said, I knew I had them. So we put it up to the players, and in the dark, you could see these big professional athletes. They're like looking away and their hands are going to their eyes. So it was about this dog. I'm not going to get into the story, but Arthur the dog, and what he needed for companionship and how important a team was to him and the sacrifices and struggles this dog went through just to have companionship. And so what we're going to do, talk after the show, I found the movie again after all these years, and we're going to tweet the link out from our Beat account. We'll tweet it out. And I challenge any human being. It's a 13-minute video. I challenge you, when that dog jumps in the water, that's all I'm going to say. When that dog jumps in the water and you don't cry, you have no soul.
And what we at the PD, I think we won 4 games in a row after that.
But that's what you needed. But that's what you're saying. With the way you coach, you got to break it up.
Whether it's 4, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was at least 3 games we won in a row. And I was like, Petey, is there any other? And I remember we lost the game. And I go, Petey, we need another animal. But that's the stuff though that I really enjoy is thinking outside the box of how do you get your team to come together? Because it's not always every day, practice the same thing, video. Yeah, you have to have that in your day-to-day life as a team and as a coach. But these guys are human beings, and you got to figure a way to inspire guys. We're very lucky. Like I was very lucky to be involved in the NHL for as long as I've been. It's a great lifestyle. So let's enjoy it. I know there's a lot of pressure. How do you, as a coach, how do you alleviate the pressure, not only from you, for the players? That's something you try to do, alleviate the pressure for the players.
And one more thing I want to talk about, what it was like to work for Rick Tocchet. And you see the public persona of how he is, and you like, oh shit, he's a grumpy guy and he's tough. And absolutely true. He's tougher than nails, but he'll listen. And we just put a picture up for those watching on YouTube. This is the coach's office inside the Coyotes inside the arena at Gila River. And where Rick Tocchet is sitting, it's a big black conference table. He moved to that table. He had an office. He used it for storage. He never once that season sat there unless it was a one-on-one private meeting with a player. He wanted to be out and collaborate with the coaching staff. Incredibly important to talk about things. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? So it was always video popping up on the screen or up at the whiteboard. And he said, we'll talk about anything. Well, give me a reason you want to talk about our breakout, our personnel, our lineup. I don't care what you talk about, but you better bring bullets. Because if you don't get up to the board and say why or what, then don't talk. So the first week, here I am, Mr. Tough Guy. I'm going to show Rick Tocchet what I know. We went up to the whiteboard and started talking about breakouts. And within 5 minutes, I was at my desk in a fetal position in tears, wondering if I'd ever seen the game of hockey before. Are you an idiot, Petey? Like, is that a breakout? And I'm like, it's true.
We had a lot of fun, and that's just the way I like to collaborate. A group setting, everybody has a voice. You know, listen. I mean, I'm not right a lot of times. I think I'm right, but I'm not right sometimes. So it's nice to hear a guy talk. You know, I think in these situations here, we should be doing this, and here's the reasons why. Blah blah blah. Sometimes they have stats to back it up, analytics wise, and I think that really. We had a close staff. I mean, you know, a lot of dinners together, and I believe in that stuff. You know, I know some staffs in the league, like, you know, coaches go by themselves and stuff. I think teams that players and coaches that go out together and collaborate together are mostly the successful teams. I really believe that.
We have some notes in our show prep, and it's just bullet points. And to be honest,
Yep.
Leah and I have no idea what some of them mean. So it's almost like a reveal. I feel like I'm pulling back a curtain on some of these things. So let me just read you this next bullet point that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
Watching video in a hotel bathrobe. What's that all about?
Yeah, so PD had the one computer, I think my first year.
It's before laptops, right? It's before everybody had their own laptop. We had one big, massive computer that I would wheel into my hotel room. So that sets the stage.
Okay.
So, you know, they come on down. Because, you know, we'd have to get some video done for the next day. So I knock on the door. PD opens the door, and I'm in my bathrobe with the slippers on.
No, hold on.
He looks at me like, "What are you doing?" Like somebody sees you coming in my room with a bathrobe.
In your bathrobe. Human resources on line one. Like, you can't do that today's game talk. It was and I know actually in later years too. One time we were in New York City and we got in late, but he wanted to watch hockey. And sometimes again, he talked about collaboration. He just wanted to talk hockey in his room. So you go in his room, he'd ordered room service. So there was some snacks and a couple of beers. And again, he's in the goddamn bathrobe again. Like, can we not do it in your robe? Like, I know you want to be comfortable. Do we have to in your robe? Oh, good Lord, the good old days. Hey, talk. And that's honestly, we talk about what I miss. I love what I do. I love coming here and talking hockey. It is fun and I have a great time. I miss having even a small part of the outcome that you feel you made a difference. If I saw something in video, I told it to the coaching staff or the players, and then that happens in the game and we execute it properly, you feel like you have skin in the game. I miss that, but I miss the camaraderie of the guys, like just being and sitting there and having a beer there and having a beer and talking about hockey. There's everybody in the bubble. And it was the one thing unique about the bubble, which is it will never be duplicated again. The only people anywhere were hockey people. You had to be cleared player, management, or coach. And so the bar that we're sitting at there in this picture was unbelievably unique, that you could see Matthew Tkachuk, Milan Lucic, Pekka Rinne, all sitting at different tables and everybody's talking to each other. It was an unbelievably carefree, relaxed hockey atmosphere. And I'm so glad I got to participate in that and talk. That was some of the best times I've ever had.
So just seeing that crew of guys right there, if you look at it, everybody had a role and nobody was too big. That's what I loved about it. Like Phil Housley, Hall of Famer, I'll get up, I'll go down and skate the guys at 7 a.m. Johnny McLean the next day, hey, Howie, it's my turn. I got it. Griff, the team service guy, who's terrific. he gets up, early in the morning to greet a guy that we got called up. Obviously Petey's doing his thing, who's tireless. Pete. So I could just name guys. Jay Verity, who I really enjoyed as a guy that would do anything. He would lug bags for you. So you're right, Pete. That's the one thing I do miss, that crew of the selfless guys that would, hey, when you lose, you lose, and when you win, you enjoy each other either way. And I think that was something that group did a lot, is enjoy themselves and have each other's back, because we were in tough situations, and I thought we had each other's back.
Another note here is about it being Petey's quote unquote birthday on the road, and maybe something about you lying to the restaurant staff to embarrass Petey.
Well, I was just trying to get a free dessert for Petey.
He wants free dessert.
Is this really your birthday year?
No, it's not my birthday. And I didn't know it was happening. He would just tell the hostess on the way in, hey, it's that guy's birthday.
So they had about 3 or 4 pretty waitresses come over. They started coming near Petey, singing happy birthday to him. And it was funny. It was a fun time. And Petey played along. Hey, Petey, you played along.
But you did it, and I know it partly to embarrass me, and it was funny. I got to give you that, because you know how uptight I am. I'm a little high strung. They know, so it was like, really. But ultimately, he felt like if he got the birthday cake for free, then he's not cheating, right? Oh, it's not mine. I didn't order it. It's free. It's birthday cake, so you can have the salmon and chicken with no skin on it, but I can eat Petey's friggin' cake.
I'm glad you brought up your personality, Petey, because we've talked a little bit, and I feel like there's been like the family version, hearing about how great you were to work with. I want to know.
Yeah,
I want to know what it was like working with Mr. High Anxiety over there.
Yeah, I mean,
long pause.
Tell them about Vancouver. Tell them about Vancouver breakfast. The text.
So we had I called a breakfast meeting. And we're all sitting around waiting for Petey, and all our phones text goes on at the same time, and it says, "Ugh." I'll never forget this. Talking to his lovely wife. "Ugh, sorry, honey, got to have a breakfast meeting with the coaches. Ugh." But he had us on the thread. He didn't know that. And Petey, how embarrassed were you, though?
Well, see, here's to set the table a bit. We work really hard, and it was a day off in Vancouver, and I was just texting my wife saying, I think I'm going to lay in bed and sleep in today.
Pacific Rim?
Pacific Rim.
Nice.
And 5 minutes later, I get a text from Coach Tocchet, coach's breakfast, 8:00. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was going to sleep in. So I text her back, change in plans, coach's breakfast, ugh. And here I walk down to the breakfast, all smiles, all happy. And John McClain looks at me and goes, huh, had to go to coach's breakfast, ugh. And I'm like, oh shit. Oh shit. I looked at my phone and I go, oh shit. That went on the entire year. So it's like the guy in the commercial that's going around and hitting all the computers and laptops. That was me. I messed out. Sorry.
It wasn't that bad, Petey. Imagine if you really felt.
I know. Yeah, that was not the worst text I said about you to my wife, by the way.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, Petey. We want more stories now.
Okay, but here's where a guy where Rick Tocchet, he's a no nonsense guy. It's black or it's white. Okay, and I think as a coach, he's like that. As a human being, he's like that. You know where you stand with Rick Tocchet, and that's a good thing. There's no bullshit. There's no, hey, I'm candy coating it. This is the way it is. So one time, and this is one time I was unbelievably thankful that he was that guy. Wayne Gretzky was the head coach. Rick Tocchet was an assistant coach, and I was the video coach. They bought us. We got called into a meeting, and Wayne said, come with us. It was right around Christmas. And we're going, what the hell's going on? Walks us out to the parking lot at Gila River Arena, opens the door, just like friggin' Oprah. Merry Christmas. And then there are these cars lined up. Everybody got a car. It's like, you get a car, you get a car. I'm like, are you kidding me? I get a car for Christmas? Like if Dave Tippett's listening, they gave me a Best Buy gift card. Nice job, Tip. So I get a car, and it's unbelievable. Like, I'm a young guy, I get a brand new car. Talk goes up to the car and goes, looks at the guy that each guy had from the dealership. He goes, what? No window tinting? And the guy goes, and then all these guys jump back in the cars. They drive them away. And then later that afternoon, they came back with window tinting. And thank God it's 120. You need friggin' window tinting on. So thank you, Rick Tocchet, for getting us all window tinting that day.
Craig, and the story goes better because Gretz got us. It looked like a cop car. Like, I'm thankful. It was like, back then it was like a $30,000 car, but it looked like a cop car, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, at that time I was like, I'm single, and I'm like, I'm not driving around this thing in Old Town, right? So,
yeah, the four-door cop car.
I went to Darren Blake, who was Wayne's kind of team service guy. I go, hey, Blakey, do you think Gretz will mind if I traded in? And so what I did is I upgraded to the Harley Davidson truck. I paid the difference, but I took the $40 later. I take a present from Wayne and I traded it.
Down payment.
I drove that car. I drove that car literally until the wheels fell off, and I donated it to charity, and they came with a tow truck to pick it up. Barry Smith gave his to his daughter. Bonus gave it to his son. You traded yours in, and I drove it for 200,000 miles. National League right there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's Wayne though.
Yeah, it was unreal. Unreal. Changed my life.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when our first day at TNT, we got there, Wayne there's boxes of, there's must have been 40 balls of whiskey, his whiskey, his wine. There must have been 100 balls of booze in there in the green room that he had delivered for everybody, like the staff to take home. So that's just the way type of guy Wayne is, right? Very generous guy, and he used to do that all the time. Surprise people with a lot of different stuff.
Tocchet, I got to bring it back to when you were a player here. And I was kind of on the periphery back then, just kind of watching. You had Daniel Briere, you had Shane Doan were rookies back in the league. And back then, rookies were rookies. When the bus pulled up in front of a city, Keith Tkachuk, JR, and Rick Tocchet aren't getting the bags off the bus. It's Shane Doan, Daniel Briere, Jason Doig. It's the rookies grabbing all the bags off the bus. Hey, rookie, do this. Hey, rookie, do that. Team meals, rookies went last. Like, it was just the way it was. Now, I can't imagine a rookie jumping off the bus and being forced to grab the bags. When the hell did that change? And what happened to the game where rookies don't do that anymore?
Yeah, I don't know, Petey. And I'll be honest with you, I never said to Shane Doan or to Danny Briere or Keith Tkachuk or JR, they never said, hey, go pick that bag up. They just knew. They're quality individual guys. I'm not a big veteran rookie guy. I don't believe in hazing, but there is a pecking order. There's a respect. You watch after practice, and I've never said a word. And I remember Clayton Keller was a rookie. Those guys, they'd go pick up the pucks, and they put in the bucket. They did it on their own. So I think it's the leadership group that passes down these things to make sure guys understand, what it is to be, to play in the NHL and in the pecking order. But, I don't think I don't believe in the rookie veteran, the veteran's point of, you got to do this, you got to do that. I think good rookies understand what, they have to do and be part of the team. Everybody's the same when you hit the ice. I just think sometimes when you got a few more scar tissue on you, you got to make sure that the rookie understands his pecking order for sure. But Shane Doan, those guys, we never told them. They knew that.
So, Rick, when I did a story on all of the Coyotes dogs a couple outlets ago too, by the way, and made Butter Pig a celebrity in the Valley, you told me at the time you didn't have a dog because you were traveling all the time. You just didn't have any time to take care of a dog. But rumor has it you have a dog now. Can you tell us a little bit about your dog?
Yeah. As I said to my girlfriend, I said, if we're going to do this, because I'm a dog lover. I mean, yeah. I had a dog back in the day and passed away. And I knew, I'm a guy that I love to walk, walking dogs, right? I love to walk a dog. It's therapeutic. But when you're traveling, right? So now we got this dog, a border collie. And I don't know if you guys can see, I got scratches everywhere. I got a cut here. He's a playful puppy, right? So he's scratching and stuff. His name's Major. He's 10 weeks old.
Oh my God.
He's a great dog. So it's I'm glad I got him. And it's a lot of fun around the house to have him.
How's he get along with the cat?
You know what? They're getting better, but there's their moments, and the cat still runs the rules of roost, right? With that, she's got. Tinky, our cat's got a right hand cross. He just he looks. It's a Milan Lucic, right there, right cross. Anytime he needs it, he puts he does. He hits the dog every once in a while just to warn him.
Oh my gosh. Well, just a few more questions before we wrap up.
Sure.
But before we do, I just want to remind everyone that if you're not already a member at gophnx.com, head over to the website, sign up for a membership. You get a shirt when you sign up. You get members only deals of the week, access to our members only Discord. I know that there were some questions asked in the Discord once we said that Tocchet was going to be on the show today that we got to ask today. So a lot of perks to becoming a member at gophnx.com. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already. All right. A couple more questions.
Yeah, I'm going to ask one hockey question, my last one, Talk, because a lot of people ask this in our members only chat about line matchups, or how do you get a line, or how do you get a group of 3 guys together? And, do you keep them together for a long period of time and see if they click? Or do you change them every game and go, oh, shit, that's not working, we need to mix them up? Or how do you determine how you're going to pick your lineup and who plays with who?
Well, let's put this. Name some of the best lines in the league, right? Let's just go over the last 6-7 years. Marchand, Bergeron, and Pastrnak, right?
Yeah.
And if you watch them play, they all are willing to do the dirty work. They're all willing to, they'll shoot the puck. They're all willing to pass the puck. They're all willing to back check. So when you pick a line, your line chemistry, you want guys. Sure, you always have one special guy. The guy's got, he's a shooter on the line, but he just can't be a shooter. Like Patrick Laine, I think struggled this year because he's a shooter. He just kind of stands around, right? You got to partake. So when I put a line together, and I learned from Mario Lemieux, if you ask Mario Lemieux who he wants to play with, he doesn't want to play with 2 East-West guys. He goes, yeah, I'll take one East-West guy that's talented, but I need a guy that just basically goes north-south to the net. So what I'm trying to say, you have to partake in everything. You have to get the puck, right, to score. So if you're just a guy that just wants the puck all the time and not willing to go get it, you're probably not going to play with another guy the same mentality. So you got to try to find 2 guys that are willing to go get the puck for this guy. So there's a lot of that kind of mentality when I think from experience is trying to find line chemistry like that. Who's willing to do the dirty work? And some guys are going to do more than others, and some guys are more talented than others, and some guys want the puck more than others, and I get that. But the best lines, if you see, they all take part in the little parts of the game.
So when you pick your lineup, it's not who's the nice guy? Come on, Talk. I fed you that line. We've got to get him in the lineup. Why do you got to get him in the lineup, Petey? Well, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, I don't want to say who the guy was, but
we won't say the player's name.
He had a couple of tough games, and even the assistant coaches were like, everybody's like MF, and I'm like, what the hell? And we were all kind of scratching our head. And Petey goes, yeah, but you know what? He's a nice guy. Petey, how mad did I get when you said that?
Yeah, that didn't last. Well, matter of fact, the next day I came in, we were in St. Louis. I remember it. The next day I came into the coach's room and there was a sign, put him in because he's a nice guy. That quote right at my desk.
Oh my God.
Can't have him in there because he's a nice guy. So don't worry about if it's the kid's hometown. It doesn't matter. It's who's ever playing the best or who's gives us the best chance to win that game. Don't worry if he's a nice guy. I learned that day. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach.
All right, last one for you, Tocchet. And I know you're living in Vegas now, but I know this market still means something to you. You were a player here, you were assistant coach here, you were a coach here. I guess it obviously was tough leaving Arizona, but what do you take with you from these various experiences, and what's your overall picture of this place, both as a place where you spent so much time and as a hockey market?
Arizona's I've lived all over the country, and Arizona's my favorite place to live. The people. The lifestyle, obviously the weather. It offers so much. There's so many events there. That part is incredible. The hockey part to me is it was a frustrating for me because I seen the market in 2000 when we were winning. I saw the America West packed. Still losing that Game 7 to St. Louis. Who knows what could have happened after that? And then seeing the way it's transpired. With the ownership changes, the Glendale, and then there's so much thrown at this fan base. And I don't blame them for being a little bit bitter because they've been always throwing stuff at them. So I'm a little frustrated for the fans because what they've had to kind of deal with. Hopefully, this rebuild is going to bring some sunshine. Hopefully the arena deal brings some sunshine because, there's only so much the fans can take. I get it. So I'm as frustrated as them. Hopefully that, like I said, there's some sunshine to this franchise. Some of these, these draft picks pan out, and because if you win there, and like anywhere, like you got to win. I don't care where you are. Philadelphia, they pack them in. They're not winning. They're not selling out now. So it doesn't matter. You got to win it. I think they just got to find that magic, draft picks and culture and keep it going that way because this franchise is taking a lot of shots and unfortunately the fans have had to take a lot of that brunt of that but I got to give them a lot of credit. They still keep coming. I know that, sometimes the attendance is low, but they will come if the Coyotes have a brand of hockey that is a winning brand.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join our show. We've been talking about having you on for a while, so we really appreciate you coming on and taking some time. As a reminder to everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel, PHNX Sports, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, leave us a review, and follow us on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes. We are 74 followers away or 76 followers away from Craig having to finish an IPA.
Yeah, we'll explain that later.
Yeah. If we hit our benchmark in the next week. So go ahead and give us a follow and talk. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Toc.
No,
Good seeing you, bud.
Before I go, sometimes I don't watch Coyote games. I will watch you guys to get what's going on. And it's I love that you guys are doing this because we need more of this in Arizona to educate the fans or have some kind of forum. So congratulations to you guys. You guys do a hell of a job. And I mean that.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.